In the middle of the night, a woman named Jessica Holland woke up to a rumbling noise. She doesn't understand what it was, so she goes to check to see what's wrong. But there is no one and nothing in the house. On the same night, several car alarms went off simultaneously. Soon Jessica went to the hospital to visit her sister, who suffers from an undiagnosed illness and is constantly sleeping. Karen only wakes up occasionally. Due to her illness, Karen is unable to lead a normal life and constantly forgets everything. While talking to her sister, Karen suddenly fell asleep again. This happens constantly, so Jessica is no longer surprised. Later she met Huang, the sister's husband, and asked him how long the neighbors would be doing renovations. Huang didn't understand what she was talking about. According to him, their neighbors weren't doing any renovations. Jessica is a biologist specializing in the study of orchids. She came to Colombia from Scotland to take care of her sister. Her bank card has expired, so she needs Huang's help. Jessica tries to adjust to her new life in a new country, but she is still haunted by the mysterious sound. One day she went to a recording studio to meet Hernan Bedoya, an acquaintance of Huang's, and asked him to generate a sound similar to what she constantly hears. Jessica described it as if a huge concrete sphere was falling onto a metallic surface surrounded by water. It was something unimaginable. Based on Jessica's description, Hernan managed to generate something similar. It resembled a strange rumble coming from underground. Now Jessica understands what she has to search for. The question is only where to look for it and where its source is. Hernan explained the frequency of the sound. However, it didn't bring clarity but raised even more questions. While Karen sleeps, Jessica is in her ward, looking out the window. Car alarms keep going off without any reason. In desperation, Jessica sat in the hospital corridor for a long time until a woman named Agnes Sierkinski called out to her. That's how they met. Jessica delves into studying the influence of fungi on orchids. After work, as she walked through the hallway, she was captivated by eerie surrealistic paintings. Sometimes Jessica sees similar dark images in her own mind. She took a photograph of one of the paintings. On her way back home, Jessica saw a stray dog in the park. It reminded her of the sister's words about how at the onset of her illness she couldn't take care of her pet. The dog ran away, and Jessica sat by a tree, feeling completely helpless. At that moment the same rumble repeated. Later, Jessica observed her new friend's work, who is an archaeologist. They recently found strange remains in a tunnel under construction. Agnes is about to go there to find out more about it. During the day, Jessica met Hernan again, who let her listen to an enhanced version of the sound recording. It was exactly what Jessica occasionally hears in her head. She thanked Hernan for his help. He in turn told her that he has a music band. Therefore Hernan is interested in various unusual sounds. For his new track, he wants to incorporate an interpretation of that same rumble. Jessica doesn't mind that at all. Together with Hernan, she went to an electronics store to look at a large flower storage refrigerator. Jessica needs it to advance her orchid research. Hernan said there's a store in Guasco with a much larger selection of refrigerators. He suggested Jessica go there together. She doesn't understand why the guy wants to spend his time, considering it's a 2-hour drive from here to Guasca. Jessica said that she can't afford such an expensive appliance. However, Hernan intends to contribute a portion of the amount, not as a loan but as a gift. Huang is having dinner at a restaurant with his son and wife, who was discharged from the hospital today. Soon Jessica joined them. Huang believes that Karen should quit her job, but she doesn't want to, despite her illness. Karen is involved in studying African tribes living far from civilization. Sometimes Huang seriously believes that the tribal elders have cursed his wife, leading to her illness. When Jessica mentioned the dog, Karen couldn't even remember it. At that moment Jessica heard the rumble, which repeated several times. It began to happen more and more often. Meanwhile, Karen says she wants to return to work as soon as possible. Jessica went to the recording studio, but Hernan was not there. Moreover, other employees said that no one named Hernan works here. Jessica was bewildered. She decided to join the team of archaeologists who are excavating in the tunnel. Jessica feels that perhaps she will find the answer to what is happening to her right here. Construction work is in full swing here, and the team of archaeologists is working alongside. They want to figure out where these bones came from. In the evening, Jessica and Agnes were snacking and drinking while sitting on a bench. Jessica shared that she constantly hears a rumble in her head. She feels like she's going crazy. Agnes said it's not the worst thing that could happen. Soon Jessica finally decided to visit a doctor who suggested that the noise in her head could be caused by pressure changes or an uncomfortable sleeping position. But Jessica objected, saying it was something completely different. The doctor then suspected that the patient was experiencing hallucinations. Jessica simply asked for prescriptions for anti-anxiety medication. However, the doctor believed that the patient should solve the problem in a different way, without resorting to medication that deprives people of their emotions. Wherever Jessica was, she continued to hear the rumble, even next to a loudly babbling stream. It seemed impossible to escape from it. The only thing Jessica could do in this situation was to discover the nature of this mysterious phenomenon. She was noticed by a man who lived nearby. He asked if everything was okay. His face seemed familiar to Jessica. They got into a conversation. The man, who was a fishmonger, said he had never left this town because he remembers everything. Therefore, he tries to limit himself from unnecessary information, including movies and books. The man seemed inclined towards philosophy. He shared that the sounds of the past remain in the stones. Trees, cement, and rocks absorb everything, just like he does. The man remembers each of his days and even what the weather was like 10 years ago. New experiences are harmful to him. Finally, the man introduced himself. His name is Hernan. This coincidence seemed very unsettling to Jessica. Meanwhile, the man continued to philosophize. According to him, his people never dream. Jessica asked him to demonstrate it. Hernan lay down on the ground and actually fell asleep. Jessica sat next to him. After a few minutes, Hernan finally woke up. Jessica offered him water, but he refused, saying he felt very good. He supposedly could have permanently left this world, but he stopped and returned. Jessica seemed to begin to take all these oddities as normal. Hernan invited Jessica into his home. His dwelling was very modest. Apparently, he lives here alone. Hernan offered her a drink. He made this beverage based on herbs according to his own recipe. It helps him get closer to what others call sleep. Jessica's attention was drawn to old photographs lying on the bedside table. It was at that moment that Jessica realized she had been in this house a very long time ago. On that night, Hernan was hiding under the bed. More and more memories started coming back to Jessica. Hernan said that those were actually his memories. Jessica had never been here herself. Hernan confessed that the rumble Jessica hears is also his. But it was from a time before civilization existed. When Hernan held her hand, Jessica heard voices from the past. She and Hernan were somehow connected. They were like antennas capable of receiving signals. The rumble in her head resumed. Jessica opened the window, hoping to understand where the noise was coming from. But its source was in the distant past, from the times of prehistoric Earth when the planet was visited by aliens. It was their spaceship that emitted the rumble that echoed through millions of years. Soon the radio reported that remains had been found in the tunnel, some of them belonging to an unidentified animal.